There's no reason for a cow or any animal to be treated when it's well unless it's living in unsanitary conditions, which is exactly what's going on with the beef that you're buying in your grocery store. If you're buying feedlot beef, you're not buying this beef. You're buying beef from cows that's been waiting in manure, that have been standing on concrete, that have been in heat stress, that have been fed antibiotics in their food, GMO grains. Look at what you're seeing here, guys.
Stoney Ridge.
Hey, I'm right here. I'm right here, it's cool.
Farm, Stoney Ridge. Stoney Ridge Farm.
Kitties, good morning, kitty. How are you this morning? Good morning, buddy. Give me a hug, give me a hug. Are you hungry? You want your breakfast? Go eat breakfast. What are these chickens doing up here at the shop pooping? Get these chickens. All right. See it? See it? Eat your breakfast. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Stoney Ridge Farm. It's a gorgeous sunrise here in North Carolina in the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains, and we're going to take you over and we're going to show you how regenerative farming works. We're going to take the cows, we're going to move them to a new paddock. We're going to show you guys exactly what we've done and how we have the best grass on this farm that we have ever had this year, despite a month-long drought, guys. This is super awesome. We're going to talk to you about drought, how drought can be good for your land. We're going to talk about regenerative farming and what we're doing to take care of our animals here on the Stoney Ridge Farm without outside medicines, without steroids, and without grain. This is just cows and grass and farming the way we should be farming. And those are chickens. Let's have some fun. So first thing you need to know is we got a heavy dew last night. I use small machines. I use ATVs, utility vehicles here on the farm. We unroll hay all winter long out here on the farm. We're trying our very best to have stockpiled forage for most of the winter. It didn't work last year, but we're getting better grass this year. I'm moving the cows more frequently. We use vehicles like this, which are low impact. In other words, low weight, low impact, and we don't compact our soils. If we're driving an 8,500-pound tractor through the pasture all the time, we're going to compact our soils and we're going to cause problems. And what our goal is root penetration. And that's where we're going to talk about drought here in a second. Oh, baby. Contact. So in case this is your first time to the Stoney Ridge Farm, this is the front yard. The front yard is fertilized solely with chicken manure. I have a mobile coop that I move around the farm, and I fertilize both the pastures and the front yard for the farm and the garden. The garden's kind of going by the wayside right now, but it still looks pretty good. I also have some fruit trees here, and I have some honeybees right here. The fruit trees, the honeybees, and the garden are all kind of located in the same area. That way they can work symbiotically together. The bees help to pollinate the garden veggies and help to pollinate the trees that produce apples and pears and peaches. Before we go over and check on the cows, I'm going to take you guys through some pastures that I'm currently treating. Right now, this pasture has recently been treated with sawdust and wood chips, and you can see in the grass here there are wood chips and there is sawdust. All this stuff is biomass. Biomass is carbon. This will eventually rot down. What does this do? Does it fix nitrogen to the soil? No, it actually robs nitrogen from the soil. We also come in with a couple different types of inoculants and spray the pastures. You'll see that in a future video. One of them is called Super Soil. The other one, I'll post links to them down in the video description. We spray the pastures with these soil inoculants, and what they do is fix bacteria to the soil and to the root structure of the soil, and that helps to rot this material and it helps to fix nitrogen. This pasture right here, and I'm going to take you to some of the really rough places in this pasture here in a second. I'm going to show you. This is 3 years old, okay? This is 3 years into production, but the cows haven't been over here but one season, and that's why this looks like this, okay? We're going to take you over and show you a really horrible pasture, and it's exactly what all the rest of the pastures look like on this farm. What you're seeing here is all new fencing that was just put up last year. All right, dum dum dum. We are in the worst pasture on the farm. We're taking you from the worst to the best here. This is what it looks like after you've cleared land and you haven't grazed it for about 3 years. So we cleared this property right here, and this was all in forest. I want to say forest. It's not deforestation. It's taken back old growth, old undergrowth that grew up since these pastures and fields and tobacco fields were abandoned back in the day. So what we have here is sparse grass. This is called broom sedge. Cows don't like it. It is an indicator of very acidic soil. Do you see all of the bare spots right here? Do you hear this? It's hard as a rock, guys. This soil is breaking up and it's getting better and better and better. You see what the cows are dropping right here. So this is what it looked like before. We're gonna go over and see the pastures that the cows are in right now. What I've done over time here on this pasture, and these really are gonna get hit hard this winter. I'm gonna unroll about 150 hay bales out here on this 20-acre section of pasture. What we did was put down carbon. We put down biomass, and you can see right here is a place where carbon has been put down. This is where I bale grazed. I set a hay bale here. The cows gobbled it up. What they didn't eat went back to the land, and the manure went back to the land. There's a bale over there, there was a bale over there, there's a bale over there. Wherever I'm putting biomass back in the soil, I'm getting incremental growth. I'm not hitting this with fertilizer. We're not spreading 10-10-10. We're not spreading any kind of fertilizer out on this property. We're just using grass and cows. Now, you got to think about it. Broom sedge is an indicator of acidic soils. What comes out of the backside of that cow? It's not acidic. What comes out of the backside of that cow is pH neutral. So the animals can actually fix acidic soils. It's super important to know that. It takes time, but the animals can actually fix acidic soils. Now, do we bring lime in? If we need lime. This field needs heavy liming. So in order to get a jump on all this, we'll probably go ahead and lime this field this year. The fields you're getting ready to see haven't been limed in 7 years. It's amazing. Let's get over there. All right, we're at a great stopping point on the way to the cows right here. Did you see the field that we were just in that I spread sawdust and wood chips out on? That's what I did last fall right here. Look at the difference in the forage quality and the grass growth on this section of land versus what we saw over on the other side with all that broom sedge. That's what this looked like. It is absolutely amazing what that did. And people told me, don't do that. It's going to ruin your land. It's going to take it years to rot. Look at what we've got here. This is fantastic forage. It's almost waist deep. Now, we've driven up the hill just a little bit. This is fantastic pasture right here, guys. This is what we want on the Stoney Ridge farm. Now you can see the seed heads are starting to pop up on what we call purple top here. I call it purple top. It's just basically a fescue type grass. And this purple top will eventually go into senescence. And what our goal is with moving our cows is to prevent senescence. And what is senescence? Senescence is when this grass starts growing in its initial growth phase, it grows really slow. Then as it gets older, it gets into the teenage years. And this is kind of a coined phrase by my buddy Joel Salatin. It becomes a teenager and it grows vigorously, and then it becomes an adult and it puts out this seed head right here. Once this seed head comes out and that stalk turns brown, the grass goes into senescence and it stops growing so much, which is super important to know. We've got to keep the grass from going into senescence. And the way that we do that is we bring the cows in, we move them in, and we move them fast. We get them in there, we let them eat as fast as they can. They eat the tops out, they eat 1/3, trample 1/3, and leave 1/3. And this is the result of that. Absolutely gorgeous, guys. This is the best this pasture has done since I bought the farm. This is fantastic. I'm super impressed. Now, we've got some problem areas, no doubt. Those problem areas will be targeted this winter by rolling hay bales out on them, and I get fussed at all the time. You're wasting hay, you're wasting hay. Look at this. Look at this forage. Look at it. If it cost me $10,000 to feed the cows for 3 months in the winter, how much is the grass worth the rest of the year? And if we can cut that down to 2 months, how much value will we get from establishing our pastures appropriately and not spraying chemicals on them? Pastures are living things, and soil is a living thing. Life is not just in P and K. It's not in a bag of fertilizer. It's in the nutrients in the soil and the microbes and the fungus that's in this soil. Let's go see the cows. Hey, good morning. This is Big Bud. Hey, Big Bud. How you doing, buddy? Hey, good morning. Some cows are a little less friendly than others. It's kind of funny. What we're gonna do is we're gonna get these cows moved, guys. We're gonna show you real quick the forage that they're on currently, okay? And this is what they're on currently. You can see they haven't eaten it down too awful far. We still got about 6 inches of forage down here. They will be here in about a week. But first, we've got to get them moved down to some bottom land. We got a fussy cow. You will see some flies. Hey, dude. Hey, bro. Hey, I'm right here. I'm right here. It's cool. So a lot of people say Angus beef cows are really violent. You can't get in the pasture with them. They're so mean. They're hateful and mean, and they'll push you down and hurt you. But what I found is the exact opposite. As long as you treat these animals with respect, they will treat you with respect in most cases. The only thing they'll do is try to love on you a little more than you want sometimes, and they might knock you over if you don't watch out. And you never really turn your back on the bull. So we got Donnie, he's our bull. He's called a South Pole bull. And a South Pole bull is a little bit smaller framed bull with better grass genetics. In other words, we're breeding better grass genetics into our animals so that we don't have to deworm them. If you look, when they come through here, Donnie has less flies on him than the rest. He's fatter than the rest, and we're trying to breed those genetics into our Angus herd. Now, cows have been out on this pasture for about 12 hours right here. You can see plenty of forage left, plenty of grass left. That's Tammy. She is our guard donkey. Tammy looks after the cows and the calves and makes sure that the coyotes don't get them. She will kick a dog's butt, I'm gonna tell you right now. Tammy has killed actually any animal that comes into the pasture with the cows that shouldn't be there. Tammy's got a skunk, she's gotten rabbits, groundhogs, all sorts of stuff. It's kind of weird, but that's what Tammy does. That's her job. So what we're gonna move down to, and you can see these pastures here are a little bit woolly. This section of grass is not as good as what we just drove through. That's okay. That's why we're only hitting it for 12 hours. The section we're putting them on down here in the bottom, we're gonna leave them in for 24 hours. So it makes a difference. This is Big Bud. Hey, Big Bud. Big Bud is a big old cow. He's a steer, actually. So the cows were down here. Bud, you're gonna bump into me. The cows were down here earlier, yesterday evening, and then I moved them into here overnight, and now we're gonna move them down into this bottom. Watch this. So these animals are trained. They know when it's time to move and when it's time to eat. It's a little bit dark this morning. This is Freedom number 5. I keep some of these guys named, and some of them I don't really name. The friendly ones pretty much get names. This is a water tank that's supplied by a water line that comes from way over on the other side of the farm. These are balls that are pushed down, and the cows are able to drink water right out of there. This helps keep it from freezing in the winter time. We live in North Carolina. We have a pretty temperate climate. The lowest temperatures get is about 0. I've never seen these freeze at all. They're sitting on a concrete pad right here. I'll post a link to the full install of one of these and a full install of the tire water tanks that we have. We also have tire water tanks with goldfish in them to keep them clean. So what we have here are 4 posts. 1, 2, 3, 4. Our poly fence wire comes off of these posts. In other words, like pizza wedges. So we slice, 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 and everything is based upon the waterers, okay? So before the cows move in here, I will block this off into 1 acre blocks so that the cows will only graze and put pressure on one little spot, and then they'll move to the next little spot and the next little spot. And the water is the central location where the cows are gonna go back to every single time. There is some science to how close your cows need to be to their water source. And the science is around 400 feet and below is where they need to be. If they're more than 400 feet from their water source, cows will mob drink. In other words, the whole herd will come to the waterer at one time. When the whole herd comes to the water at one time, the last few cows don't get their full fill of water, so they don't get the nutrient that they need. If we keep it less than 400 feet from where the cows are going to be located, then they won't mob drink, and therefore every cow gets the right amount of water that they need for their nutrition. That's what it's all about. If this water was way over there, what would happen is the cows would make trails, and you guys driving through the country, now you'll see, and you'll know why. You'll see cow trails all over farms out in the country. Why is that? Because they don't have access to water less than 400 feet away from them. Cows, horses, all animals, and they will zigzag across the pastures and cut trails which will compact the soil and make a mess. They erode, they compact, and they ruin your pastures. Do you see a cow trail out here? Nope, but there was one because I only had one water tank and it was down by the creek about 3 years ago, and there were cow trails all over this property. You can break those cow trails up, but it takes some time. So we're gonna unhook this gate right here. But that's our waterer. That's what the cows will have access to. We're gonna open the gate and let the girls come on through. Come on. Woo! They know my song. It's my cow song. Woo! So we're gonna be moving the cows down into here. They should come on through the gate once one decides to come through the gate. And then they'll run right down through here. They have access to the forest right here, and they will actually raise the canopy of the forest by consuming some of the leaves in there. Some of those leaves are good. They're good for deworming. They're good for nutrition. We want a multi-species pasture. Even grazing the forest like this is super important. Look at how they've raised a canopy down here, and this is one of the coolest spots on the farm. Today it's going to be 95 degrees, and the cows will be lounging right in here and right up through here, and they'll be eating even multiflora rose and all sorts of stuff. They'll be nibbling at it, and they'll be eating the leaves off these trees. The only thing you really need to watch out for is if you have any dead wild cherry, because dead wild cherry does not do well with cows. It will make them sick and can potentially kill them. Here we are, and here they come. Come on, girls, woo! Come on, come on, woo! Chuck wagon. I get a lot of questions about medications that I give my cows. I get a lot of questions about vaccinations that I give these cows. These cows don't get medications unless they're sick. Hey, butthead, good morning. They don't get medications when they're well. There's no reason for a cow or any animal to be treated when it's well unless it's living in unsanitary conditions, which is exactly what's going on with the beef that you're buying in your grocery store. If you're buying feedlot beef, you're not buying this beef. You're buying beef from cows that's been waiting in manure, that have been standing on concrete, that have been in heat stress, that have been fed antibiotics in their food, GMO grains. Look at what you're seeing here, guys. Versus a concentrated animal feeding operation where animals are trucked in, feed and grain is trucked in, and manure is trucked out. What sense on God's green earth does that make to haul in the food, haul in the cows, haul out the manure, and have to pump them full of medications in order to keep them from getting sick? What sense does that make? It makes no sense whatsoever. Now, what you'll see down here in this bottom, and they'll be in here for 24 hours, is some of that broom sedge we talked about. If we can catch them with the broom sedge before the seed heads pop out, they will graze that broom sedge right down to the ground. So there's good grasses, there's fescue grasses, wild grasses, some weeds, multi-species pasture. You'll see ladino clover, all sorts of stuff growing in this pasture, and these cows thrive on it, absolutely thrive on it. So what I've learned over the past few years here, and I've had cows now, I think We're in the third 3.5 years of production with the cows. I've got 85 acres fenced. We're running about 50 cows. We just sold about 10 cows off, and we're trying to reduce our cattle load for the winter, okay? However, for the last 3 years, what I've been doing is really pressuring the land. If you think about it, 50 to 55 cows on 85 fenced acres. That's less than an acre and a half per cow. That's way more animal pressure on the land than any other farm around here is doing. And my grass is greener, my grass looks better, and the soil is healing itself. While I watch them ride around spraying their pastures or fertilizing their pastures and liming their pastures every single year, all I do is move the cows, put hay out, and the pasture heals itself. What we're doing here is wrong, guys. We're putting chemicals into our soil, which are killing the microbial life and making our soil dependent upon fertilizer, making our soil dependent upon a pill. That pill is not what the land needs, and it's not what you need in most cases. We don't need a pill to fix it. We need to address the problem first. If you have high blood pressure and you're eating too much salt, just cut back your salt. Learn from your doctor. This is the ultimate soil building project here on the Stoney Ridge Farm. I hope you guys learned a little bit today. All this came from unrolling hay. A year ago, this was bare land, just like what you see right here, and this washed out of the woods. Just like that, this was bare land. This is where I'd been unrolling hay all winter long. Think about it. We roll hay out up on the top of the hill. What happens? The nutrient flows down the hill into the valley. We keep the cows up on the top of the hill for an extended period of time. That nutrient that comes out of the butt of that cow, the urine and the feces that comes out of the butt of that cow, feeds the land down the hill. That's why bottomland is more fertile. Cool. Guys, thanks a lot for joining me here on the Stoney Ridge Farm. The cows are great, everything's healthy. I just want to take you along, show you a cattle move. These cows will have access to this for about 24 hours. Then we'll move them up to that big tall grass that you saw, let them nip the tops out and keep them rolling. Just keep them moving. Move, mob, and mow. Move, mob, and mow. They're pruning the grass back. Eat 1/3, leave 1/3, trample 1/3. It works, guys. Thank you all so much. We'll see you next time on the Stoney Ridge Farm. Please post anything you'd like to see in a future video down there in the comments section. What would you like to see on this farm? It's absolutely gorgeous, beautiful day, and I got work to do. See y'all. Take care. Have a great day.
Come on down to the Stoney Ridge. Bring your wife and bring your kids. We're living life pure and sweet. That's the way it's supposed to be, Stoney Ridge.
Buddy and the cats. Buddy and the cats. I'm a chicken and I don't know what to do. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the things that we've done on this farm. There's coyotes right over there. We got to get over there to the Buddy and the cats.
We got a whole lot of cows down there, boy. We got a whole lot of cows.
I should have been a cowboy. I stepped into some poop today. Goodbye, cows. Woo! If they mooing, they ain't chewing. They're chewing. See ya.